go. Hey, dog. Hey, come here. Yeah. Come here, kid. Get here.
Period.
It's like those are my toys.
Period. Period.
Daddy wants me to take my toys. But they're in there, I know. Oh. That is weird.
What is?
Looks like the live is not actually live.
What's his name?
I know, but the thing went down, which is weird.
Live.
Let me try this again.
Trying it. Trying again. Prepare to try again. Trying again. Did you prepare to try again? Oh, welcome to behind the scenes. Oh, here goes another day, another show. Sunday.
Go live.
I don't make this stuff up. You don't make this stuff up. This is what it looks like. I want to just put this together. I watched JD for 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then I just start talking. And the show started.
And I just go, wow, I should be taking notes during this entire time.
JD wants me to use a pop filter. I told him in my head, I didn't tell him out loud, but I told him in my head that it comes down to the mix. And not necessarily me popping. Because I'm popping. Yo, who's popping?
I don't know, is it popping?
Who's popping?
It's popping. It's popping. Cables. Let me get it. I did. I'm proud of you.
Hey, puppy.
I did. Twinkle. Hey, look, we're live.
Who?
Right now.
Where?
There.
I don't believe it.
Grandma?
What? Hey, you can really dance.
Okay.
I'm gonna drink some water.
There. There. Wonderful. Let's bring up the program. Hello, we got a viewer.
Who?
I don't know.
Run!
It says one.
You don't want to watch. Trust me, we get crazy.
Oh
We talk about random things about the industry, and we pick each other's noses. Very scary.
no. It is. We're talking about the steel industry?
The steel industry.
Listen, I was just trying to steal the show. Wah, wah, wah. La la la. Yeah. This is cast. What's today? Today's 9/20/2020. Create. Creating. Creating live. Also, for those joining in on the Twitch, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us while we're setting up.
What questions would they ask for?
Well, as we are setting up, we are showing the behind-the-scenes process. If we have any questions as to what exactly it is we might potentially be doing while we're sitting here tapping and looking at our computer screens.
What are you doing?
Right now, sniffing the microphone.
How do you determine the peak level of a microphone, JD?
Well, it depends on the pH level.
Does it? Ugh. Ugh.
Let's see.
Ugh. Ooh. These new mic stands, camera stands are definitely a good buy.
Hi, camera.
How do I get you out of the footage?
I mean, you just get like a marker.
Check lens. Why is it dark? Well, look at that.
Oh, sorry about that.
Don't be sorry. Just remember. Can you sit down?
Yeah, give me a second. I'm sitting down.
Relax.
I'm relaxing. Got the microphone as I would have it. Hi.
That's a good shot.
When did I get into the mic? When did I get?
What?
Huh?
Who are you?
What? Bob?
Now, this show, just if you could, periodically pay attention to the audio just in case it cuts out.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna.
So we don't do another 2 hours before.
Yeah, sorry. That would very much suck.
Yeah, the audio is annoying. Alright, can you sit in my chair?
Hello.
Wait, no move. No move.
I'm not moving.
Alright, can you sit in my chair?
Hi, I'm Thomas. I always have the right answers because I know everything.
Do have more slashes than you.
I mean, I was being accurate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Popper.
he's under the table.
What's next? I guess.
I gotta sit here and
This,
set up all the things.
How do we adjust the sound? Tell the audience how to do. Walk them through the process of checking sound.
Right now, I'm plugging in the microphones to the interface, and now I'm setting up the two channels. I have one for Thomas's mic, I have one for my mic. I'm setting them up so that they are corresponding to a specific channel. And then I gotta check and make sure that I can record both tracks at the same time, and turn the monitors on so I can hear when we're actually talking. Because that's how we can check.
Gotta check it.
Hola, ¿qué pasa? ¿Dónde está?
You should talk normally into it, right?
Yeah.
Now, why do you talk normally into it?
Well,
This is the purpose of that. It was just so I know.
I was.
Now, what do you adjust if it's peaking?
Well, first I'm adjusting the input on.
So that's the first thing you do. Just so the audience knows. So
That's the first thing that I would do. Yes.
you would adjust the mic volume first.
Well, hello. You breaking stuff?
Yeah.
Hello.
No, just so I understand. You would
Yes, I would adjust the mic.
just the mic volume first.
Yeah. Because it's at 0.
What?
Because I had it at 0.
You have the mic volume at 0,
I did when I plugged everything in.
and that's the first thing you adjust.
Yes.
All right, just wondering, so I know what I have to fix. But all right, so just keep explaining to the audience what you're doing this time.
Well, the main volume was at 50%.
All right, so
The
that's
overall interface.
that's the first thing you make
That's the
sure
first
is
thing I
good.
did. And making sure that I'm not peeking on the interface.
Okay.
On the initial input. And now I'm going over here to see what it sounds like. Hello, I'm talking into the microphone, and it sounds a lot different because I have this thing on now.
Sounds weird with the
It does sound like this.
fusing popper.
Hello. I mean, I feel like my voice is definitely smoother now.
Well, that's not a condenser mic, so it's not picking up the dynamics of your voice.
It says I have a dynamic.
do.
When did I get a voice?
Thursday?
I mean, that's. You got. Can you take that for me? I'm gonna talk normally.
are we doing today?
Holy crap.
Oh no, that sounds good. Don't mess it. That sounds good.
It was louder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
Let's start over.
It's perfect.
I'm just saying, I was startled.
I like this. How come there's no weird sound to it this time? Adjust something on the machine, on the program?
We got all the wires separated, so we won't hear that.
No. I mean, it doesn't sound like there's reverb or like some sort of effect on it this time.
Well, it's
What did
literally
you?
the same thing that I've done for
I think there's something. There has to be a different variable going on right now.
this. This is the only different variable from the last.
I disagree.
Well, you can disagree all you like. I'm telling you that I literally have the same settings.
I'm talking about my voice. I'm not hearing the thing in my headphones. There's something going on. But it might be because I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But it sounds perfect. Don't touch anything.
I won't touch anything, but it's literally the same thing.
I believe. Well, it can't be.
On all the digital ends.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the interface.
This is why we get into fights all the time.
Same
Because
thing.
he's gonna argue this like he's a Trump supporter,
Oh dear God.
and
Never.
I'm gonna argue this like I'm a debate king and
Don't-
have won debates.
Well, you're telling me that I obviously have changed something on the settings when I'm telling
No,
you.
I did not.
All right. But what are you telling me? There's a variable. The variable.
I said
is
a
this-
variable is changed, but I didn't say you changed it.
Well, this is the only variable that is different from last
So is a
week.
variable changed?
I already acknowledged that this
But
was changed.
I don't think that's the only variable that is different than last time.
Well, the other variable that we changed last week
Yeah.
was we separated these,
All right.
put them apart, and then we also made a very, conscious effort to
That's
keep
it.
the phones away from them.
The volumes are identical to last week.
I believe so.
Well, can we get some proof on that? Can we
levels-
implement some evidence, Judge?
Well, the levels are popping up as they were, and I've adjusted it the same way that I did last week.
What are the levels at? Let me see.
Yeah,
How's this? Is this good?
I'm trying not
Is
to
it
knock
ready? Is it redlining?
It is
Hello?
not
Hey, look how low. All right, that's hello.
Hi.
That's still pretty low, but whoa, yeah, there you go. Oh my God, now you get me excited. Oh, no, yours is too loud.
That's too hot.
Too hot.
Chosen.
Do you know what hot means?
It means that it's peaking. Or it means that
Is
the
that
tea
what it
kettle.
means?
It means that the tea kettle is
Wait. You think a hot mic means that it's peaking?
Apparently. I am wrong.
No, look, you're the debate king. I'm not gonna assume anything. I will
Listen, you're
never
assuming.
assume.
You're assuming I'm the debate king.
No,
You called me the debate king.
I know you're the debate king.
That-
I hear you late at night, all night, and you're a master at it.
Listen, I'm a master debater. I'm not a king debater.
You are a master debater.
That is a fact.
That's not the oldest joke in the book, but I will use it until I die.
All right, I'm gonna do a test recording,
Oh my God, here it goes.
and we're testing recording. Say something.
Say something. Hello? What's
Hi.
going on? Do I have to do this?
Is this a video?
Do I gotta be here? Like, how much of this do I have to
All
care
right, let's
about?
listen to that.
Nah, good. Why is it so low? Sounds muffled.
It does sound muffled. Why are you muffled? Oh, that's why.
Why? What happened?
Because the audio is coming out of that thing, not coming out of here.
Well, why is it doing that? Did you change something? Do I have to?
That's very low.
What's the line look like on the recording? Is it low?
It's not normal. That's weird.
That is weird.
Hello. Can you hear me now? Vases. That's a beautiful wall.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a picture of the wall. Okay, wait.
Hi.
Oh my God, breaking
Hold
stuff.
on.
Jesus.
Let's try this. This is our second. Do.
My name is JD.
Your name is
JD.
JD.
It's JD.
All right, let's stay up. Let's see.
JD.
That is a lot lower, man. What's going on here?
I don't know. Obviously, it's exactly identical to last week, so I can't give any.
So here we are. We're trying this. We're gonna try this. Then we're gonna try this. And then we'll try that. And then we'll try that. See what happens.
JD. JD.
That is so weird. What the hell? What? That is also really weird.
Yeah, I have no idea what that could be.
That is also louder now. So what the hell just happened?
What happened?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a variable change?
What did you do?
I don't know, sir.
We're gonna test this one now. Why does this also sound louder? What is going on?
I don't know. This sounds perfect. Don't touch this.
I'm not gonna touch it. Oh, that's
Trying to get people here so they can laugh at us. Not to give you anxiety or make you nervous.
That's it.
I can't adjust. We can't adjust anything because it's identical to last week. Oh, what's happening? Oh crap!
For what?
What are we doing?
I don't know why this is.
We adjusted stuff.
They did adjust stuff.
Yeah, adjust.
I.
Why'd you adjust the main?
microphone?
Why did you adjust the main? Why did you lower the main?
It's back where it
All
was.
right. Well, you moved me a little bit too. What's that? Is
Yeah.
that the headphones?
This is headphones.
Is it?
Headphones. Low headphones. High headphones.
Oh, I know. Go ahead. Hit play.
It's already
Hit play.
recording.
Hit play.
It's already recording.
No, hit play. Don't you want to listen? Oh, God. You being me.
Ah. That's what it was.
Was this something adjusted from last week? What do you think? What?
I'm assuming that was adjusted from last week.
So, was I right? This is why you're supposed to respect your elders when they say things. There's a chance, a small chance,
But that has nothing
that
to
most of them are really out of their mind because they hate life because they're so old.
When did you get here?
I don't know. Thursday.
Oh. Well, that's what that noise is. It is us listening to that, and it's us listening to the mix.
Yeah, I
That's-
figured that out as soon as I put the monitor up. Can't help it. There is a way to adjust that so you wouldn't have that effect, but I don't want to spend time on it right now.
You don't have to spend that on it right now.
I don't want to spend time on it right
I'm
now.
gonna take a picture.
When you're live with Gay G. Who's playing? JB. He was maybe wrong about something.
Listen. I'm listening.
Rare.
I like medium rare.
Rare. But it does happen.
Listen. I was mistaken, and apparently something was adjusted from last week.
Listen, I know it was.
Well, we just figured it out.
I already knew it was going on.
Don't talk to me.
Right, but it does happen.
Alright, where's the thing? I need a thing. Alright, let's set up doing the thing.
And what?
Well, I'm about to do it live.
I don't believe it. Hey, welcome to our behind the scenes. We're about to start our podcast.
Hello.
I don't make this stuff up. Today's topic, as you can see in the comments, please feel free to ask questions. We're talking about the streaming debate. The boys, Cobra Kai, and behind the business of streaming, especially if you're an actor, a producer, a writer, a director, and you want to get into the business and work with streaming and like what the deals with SAG, etc., 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 etc. Show's about to start in, I would say like 3 minutes, give or take. JD has to interact with his social media, so they
Well,
he's got the bigger audience than me.
I don't know about that.
I think you do. You have 10,000 people on Instagram.
Oh, it's only on Instagram.
I know.
I don't know about
I
that.
don't know. I don't make this Woo! Yeah. I'm gonna take this out of here. I can't take that. Woo! That's so much better. See that? By the way, I knew there was a variable change because the sound was different. That's just how I am. Can we just admit I was right?
I already admitted you were right.
I just want it on. Are we recording?
We're recording on there.
All right. Well, that's fine. JD, can you look at the camera
He was right.
again? That's it. I'm gonna go put a mark on the green now.
Behind the scenes.
Can you do a thing on yours that has a link directly to the YouTube live?
Oh, you're talking about the Instagram.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Do that. I don't know how to do it to the live YouTube, but I think if you just go to if you go to the YouTube page now. Let me see. BBR Productions.
Yeah, I have a link to it. Share.
Yeah.
Copy link.
Let me see. What do you mean you have a link to it?
It popped up.
Oh, that's cool.
So let's do that.
Oh, look at that. Live right now. See, it's the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, I just said that.
Phew. I'm in. I like that.
Hey, Thomas.
What?
How you feeling?
Pretty good. We're talking about some streaming, debating, the boys, Cobra Kai, or Cobra K, depending on what episode you watch. And maybe some behind the scenes for you actor writers.
That's behind the scenes. And we have to wear these funny headphones.
Yeah.
Put a little thingy in. Web link.
Web linkies.
Web linkies.
Web linkies.
Ooh. I want to do that. Where's the little swipe? Swipe up. Ooh. What do you got? It's my favorite one.
I don't know. It's right there.
Oh man.
Who's this kid?
Is it me?
I don't know.
Found it. We gotta do tags. All the social media stuff, there's all these tagging things going on.
Where are they?
Right here, apparently.
I don't believe me.
What do they get?
Did you hear what happened?
That you were happening?
Craziest thing.
I don't know what's going on here. Oh no. Do-do-do. Scooby-Doo. Let's go.
What's that noise? Oh, it's yours. It's yours.
It's definitely mine.
Look, mine doesn't do it.
Oh, it's on fire.
Do I want to go live on our Instagram again? I really want to do that.
Yes.
Do I?
Alright, cool.
Do I want to go live?
What? How you feeling?
Pretty good. We're talking about some streaming today.
Alright.
Yeah, your phone really chickles it.
Did you say trickles it?
Chickles it.
Chickles.
Yeah, it's a word I just made up
You know, I believe that.
just to say what I wanted.
And then, boop. Starting live video. We're live on the what is this? What are we doing? Facebook.
What's that?
We're live on Facebook. Hi, Facebook land. Welcome. We're behind the scenes of our podcast, and I'm gonna make
What the hell's a
some
podcast?
tea. Hi, pup.
Oh yeah, we need tea before we start.
We do need tea.
Can I get my big glass?
We can.
I want a big glass.
You mean
All right.
You mean your soup bowl to handle?
Yeah, welcome to Behind the Scenes. The reason we do behind the scenes footage live on YouTube is because while we're doing our podcast, I don't make this before we start the actual show. And during the show, you can ask questions in real time, and then we'll answer your questions on the show. You don't get to really do that if you're not on the live. So, do what you gotta do, So, welcome here. As you can see, our topic today will be about the streaming debate, the show Boys. We're gonna talk about Cobra Kai. No spoilers. Behind the scenes of the business aspect of streaming. And basically, if you're a writer, director, actor, or you wanna get into the business and you wanna know a little bit behind what goes on, how it's all messed up, that's what we get to talk about today. So, what you think about what you wanna say, and we're here ready for you because we love you. We love you. Thanks for stopping by. That's all I care about. We love people talking in the. There we go. Look at that. Hello.
We got a question already?
No. We got some great topic. Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about.
Ooh, I love enthusiasm.
You gotta love enthusiasm. What's the point? If you don't love the enthusiasm.
I was an enthusiast once.
But wait, what did you say?
I said I was an enthusiast once.
I was an enthusiast at once, anyway. The world is a vampire, But yeah, again, as we're going on, please feel free to ask questions. I know you were on the show watching one time and you had some really amazing questions.
There we go.
Or at least interaction. We love interaction. That's
We're recording?
Oh yeah, let's record it.
You definitely should record. So we can record it.
Well, we're officially on. Let me go to the.
Hello.
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 My name is.
Alright. I'm gonna do the official. We're recording now. Say hi, Thomas.
Hey. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Gap. Bing, boo, ding, bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Alright, I got that up, got that up. Alright. I think's be good.
Are we good? All right, let's go. Ooh, what's this? Whoa, that's hot.
Also, be careful, the tea is hot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do live Instagram. I want people to come to the YouTube. So, but I'm gonna use this to. I have information on here I need to read.
Okay. Also, wait.
Why not? Oh my God, what do you have, Parkinson's?
It's my favorite part.
It's my favorite part to cut out of the audio when we put it up.
Listen, I don't care.
Who?
I'm having fun now.
You should get. Is there a variable change? All right, so. Hey, I don't make this up. I'm Thomas J. Beleza,
And I'm
and
JD McGivney.
that's right. You can spell that J-M-M-M-A-D, Gibney. That's I-O-M. I don't know. Write that down, please.
You forgot the 3 and the 4.
What's the three?
Between
You
the J and the
You
M.
need a 3 and a 4. Anyway, today's topic is going to absolutely be about the streaming debate. We're going to talk about some shows, The Boys, Cobra Kai. We have talking about weekly releases and the backlash on that, and also just
The
throwing
Netflix model.
Netflix model, throwing it all out there and binge watching. A new thing happened with Lucifer where they split the season, so that's something interesting. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the business behind streaming, the cost aspects of it. There's a new streaming network that's starting to actually get some awards, believe it or not. Quibi, yeah. And some of the actors on Quibi shows are getting nominations for Emmys and things like that. So there's so many opportunities out there. I would say for content, and I don't know if the content is devalued in any way. I don't think I'm not saying because there's more content available that it's being pushed out quicker. I think it's just, well, the other day I was up at 12 midnight and I was like, I can't sleep.
That's way past my bed.
Right. And I had Netflix, Hulu, Prime, Disney Plus, so forth and so on. We're not sponsored by them yet. But I will say this, for an hour, I scrolled through content and I couldn't find anything to watch. And I'm a huge movie fan, you know that.
Yes.
I have a huge collection of movies. I used to have a larger collection. I also am a massive fan of television because I write television. So
Specifically long form storytelling is kind of your bread and butter.
yeah. I mean, when I decide to write a book, I end up writing a minimum of a trilogy. I'm like, how do I tell the story over 3 books? Minimum. So it's the same thing with a television show. When we develop TV shows, we always
sign a show in 3 books.
No, with the television show, we do 5 season minimum because when you're actually going to pitch a television show, unfortunately, I can't remember his name. He's a great actor, though. I believe he was on West Wing or something. Amazing actor, great. I really wish I could look up his name real quick. But anyway, he came in, and what happened was that scene where spoiler alerts for this, but the show's been off the air for years. Jesse Snyder's character's girlfriend just died, and my character comes in to clean up the situation. Jesse's on the floor crying, he's hysterical, he doesn't know what's going on. And Mike literally walks up to him, and he basically bends down a little bit, and he slaps Jesse right in the face. Bam!
Yeah.
That wasn't in the script, but they just kept rolling, they just kept with the scene. But the shock was real shock, And anyway, they love the way he portrayed that character, and therefore that character is now a massive character in the law of Breaking Bad. Eventually, he became something of an important plot line in Better Call Saul, which, by the way, fantastic show. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. I think they're working on that next season. But what I'm getting at is I do love long-form storytelling. It's definitely my schnizzle. But at 1 hour, I'm going through an hour, and I couldn't find anything. By the end of that hour, I was just like, I'm just going to watch
Casino Royale.
Royale, the James Bond movie. I already seen it several times. I love the movie. I knew I was going to enjoy myself because I like to kind of like
revisit.
No. Like at night, I shut off my brain, and that's why like if I watch something I already know that I know I'm going to enjoy, I can just kind of watch it. I'm not like, you know.
You don't have to pay attention for all the little details to try and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take it apart or anything. You know, I'm just enjoying it. But does that mean I couldn't find anything that was quote unquote good? No, it was just, you know, the titles, the the breakdowns of the movies, of the show, or, you know, it was nothing that was intriguing. And that brings up the question, you know, is having all these outlets absolutely deteriorating the quality of storytelling? What are your thoughts on that, JD? That's interesting.
I don't think that it's necessarily that they're. I have opinions every now and then. Once every 3 months.
Great, JD. So anyway, back to me. Back to now. Go ahead. Moving on. Going back.
I don't think it's necessarily that it's damaging storytelling. I think it's more of that people.
No. The quality. Is the quality going down in all the shows?
Oh, I definitely think that the quality of storytelling is going down because I feel like because there are so many outlets, I feel like people have this need to. They feel like they have to put out stuff. It's like, oh, we have all these things, we have to put it out. And I think just having so much variety that people are just trying to fill up that space with content, not necessarily spending the time on creating something that they necessarily feel proud of, or like, oh, we just be artistic. They're just like, oh, this is the formula that worked for X, Y, and Z, so let's just make a cookie cutter, version, that we can just mass produce really quickly.
I might have to push back on that. Aside is Jonathan Banks played Mike Ehrmantraut. He was the character.
Oh, going back to me?
To sum up what you're saying is you feel that they just have to get things out. There's a formula, a show worked, so they're like, let's just do another version.
I'm saying they feel that they need that way. I don't say that they necessarily have to. I'm saying that
we have a question.
Oh, we have a question.
Do you think the prevalence of TV remakes devaluing creativity? I
don't think so.
No.
Because I feel like if something gets created and people feel a need to do a remake, there has to be something that is that people are connecting with strongly, like emotionally, that they want to recreate that.
Yeah, as long as I think a remake is best when it's told from a different perspective. Like if you're going to remake, let's say someone decided to remake Beverly Hills Cop and they did it as a television show, like for Lethal Weapon, the film series, they ended up making Lethal Weapon the TV show. And I actually really liked the show, but because there was so much turmoil in the back, the guy who played, it was Riggs and Murtaugh. The guy, Damon Wayans was one of the producers on the show, and it was his show. And the guy who played Riggs, I can't remember his name, but he directed an episode. People were getting hurt. He didn't care. There was a lot of fighting. He was isolated from everybody. So they ended up, spoiler alert, they fired him, and they also killed his character off. And then a new character came in.
Off screen too, didn't they?
What? No, they killed him on screen.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely did. They definitely killed him on screen. But then the new character came in, played by Sean William Scott. I believe that's his name. The guy from the American Pie. The Apple Pies. And I thought they did a really great job with the new character. You had a lot of new dynamics, but it definitely wasn't Lethal Weapon anymore. I mean, Damon Wayans' character, Murtaugh, wasn't actually Murtaugh really anymore. Murtaugh, because Damon Wayans was having back issues, and he didn't want to do a lot of stunts, So the show, the third season, really lost a lot of oomph, but the first season was great. So, as long as the remake has some sort of alternate perspective, I think a movie to a series or even a series to a movie could do well. But again, Conan the Barbarian was remade, I think 6 years ago, whatever, with Jason Momoa.
Might be even longer now, I think.
It was a long time ago.
Might be almost.
And it was terrible. They had a better budget, but the story was horrible. And this is the thing, the original Conan the Barbarian, the production of it was terrible. But it became a hit because there was something about the core of the story. It wasn't about, spectacle. It wasn't about effects.
What was the snake thing?
Well, it's James Earl Jones. That's just amazing.
To be fair, that is a very good point.
Yeah, I mean they had fairly. But I want to go back to what you were saying is I don't think in the industry they're rushing to duplicate and they're like, oh well, we have these avenues, so we need content. I think what they're doing is they're allowing more content through because they have there's the PlayStation channel, like Sony makes it, right? And then you have Quibi, you have Netflix, you have Hulu, there's also a Crackle, I believe, right? What is it called, Crackle?
Yeah.
So there's YouTube Red. There's all these different avenues, streaming avenues. I don't think they're trying to just fill up the times. It's not like ABC where they're like, well, we have 6 time slots, we need to fill it up. And I think what is happening is there isn't a lot of originality being made. So like on WB, right? Arrow comes out first season, amazing. It was gritty, dark, had a really amazing, great human character aspects to it, and it wasn't following the traditional soap opera. 2 people in a room. They literally are, doing exposition of, you did this, and I'm sorry for that. We have to make up, and I love you.
And also the thing that happened last week was a dream.
And it was last week. Bobby really was alive the whole season. He was just shouting. That was a long shower. But then season 2 came out. It was still sort of Arrow.
Sort of.
But they introduced Barry Allen, the Flash, and believe it or not, Flash was supposed to be a bigger part of Arrow. But because he did so well in his episodes, they actually were like, yeah, let's streamline the Flash show. And again, the first season of Flash was great. But what just happened? They basically, Arrow was working, so they're like, let's do another superhero show on the WB. And now we have two great characters. But it was basically the same show, just different perspectives. There was no originality. But I will say the first season of Arrow and the first season of Flash are some of the best writing for WB I've ever seen. Smallville was a hit, and I was not a fan of that show. So that's definitely saying a lot for me to be like, yeah, that's good. But then they made what is something Legends of Tomorrow, and then they made Supergirl, and then they made Black Light. Black Lightning came into the world, and then there was they oversaturated the idea, and I know what they were trying to do, which was awesome. They were trying to make a cinematic universe with TV shows.
They're basically trying to do what Marvel did with the Defenders and Punisher and Daredevil.
Well, that's incorrect. That's incorrect.
Well, that's not
correct. No, because when Daredevil, Punisher, and all them were made, they had no connection to the actual cinematic universe of Marvel because they were ran by a separate department. And eventually that guy was actually out. They were like, you got to get out of here. And they made Feige the president. In fact, the last 2 projects that were, there's another project coming out that it was the final show that other, I can't remember the name, but the other guy who was in charge of it, Ari something or other, I think it might be someone else. But he was just kind of doing things. Like, for example, he was in charge of, that show that came out with, it was 1 season.
That guy with the dude?
No, I gotta look this up. It was 1 season long, and it was the Inhumans. I didn't have to look it up. Inhumans, right? Now, this is how bad the show was. They didn't care about the characters, right? One of the main characters, Medusa, is like the queen of the Inhumans, right? And her thing is her hair is like really powerful.
Oh, I remember you telling me this.
And literally in the first season, spoiler alert, they cut her hair off. And they did this, as I read up, because they couldn't afford it in the budget. So that was my dog getting involved.
It's like, hey, guys, come here.
Hey, don't forget me.
I got questions, Dan.
I got questions. Again, they didn't care. That guy who was producing television shows didn't really care, and he had his own free reign. And that's why S.H.I.E.L.D. only had like 3 or 4 references to the Marvel universe, and then they were like, that's not a part of us. You're not allowed to use that stuff anymore. And that's why basically they didn't introduce any of the Endgame or Infinity Stone storylines to the seasons. They didn't do any of that stuff. They kind of ended the show on their own terms. So,
were they retconned to be back into the cinematic universe?
No, because they're owned by a different entity. But the new shows coming out, everything on Disney Plus is all attached to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But my point is, I think what you're saying, there's a half truth to it. Like they find something that works and they're like, let's just make more of it. But I don't think they're just trying to push it out. I just think there's no originality. Like how many, like when a show becomes the show, it's terrible. Like that's why Breaking Bad was so good to me to watch, because they never really fell back on a formula. It just they did have a formula, as in like they had a style of telling their story, but it wasn't, again, every show on WB in that superhero thing is like there's an action scene, there's an intro, an outro, some action scenes, and then anytime there's none of that going on, it's just two people in a room and they're giving exposition of their emotional feelings, and they're not showing, they're telling. And to me, that's terrible story. But so I think that's what's happening is you good, Pierre?
Yeah, I just, I like this angle we're here.
He actually fixed it, which is fun. I think what's happening with there being so much space, so much real estate to put shows on, is that they're not taking risks per se, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily rushing stuff out into the, like they're like.
Do you think that there's just so much content that they have that they can choose from that they're like, oh yeah, we'll take this, but we're not necessarily just gonna go and experiment?
Yeah, because they're like, well, this worked. Like, for example, Alternate Carbon did very well on Netflix. They got a second season, and I think the only thing they messed up with Alternate Carbon is they. I don't think it was a mess up, but as far as what I've read, it's that they changed everybody. It's like many, many years later. And because it's about switching bodies, they had a new lead. Anthony Mackie was the new lead. So the show was different and but it was based on like one of the main characters that had quote unquote died in the past, and apparently she didn't die. And she wasn't older.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler. She wasn't older. Anyway, they ended up canceling the show, not because the ratings were low, but because they couldn't afford it anymore. It was such an expensive show to film that they were just like, we
I can only imagine how much one cost. I
insane.
kind of want to go and check out those books that they're based on. I want to see if they're like pretty accurate to the original source material, or if it's like a completely different story, like with Duran Christian with Electric Sheep and Blade Runner.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it should be like that. Like, there should be a change. I read the book, so why not Carbon? But I'm just saying, if I read a book, I don't want to watch the book. There's what makes that book the book. I want to see on screen.
Exactly.
But I don't want to see. And tell me if it's a prequel or if it's like Witcher. I really like the Witcher show.
So did I. I hated the first book. Again, sorry for all of the Witcher fans that I'm probably disappointing right now. It was so slow. It burned.
Well, to be fair, JD does read really slow. What was it, 38 minutes for the first half page? The Witcher. Jesus, this takes forever. No. He reads really fast. Faster than I listen to audio. I wish. But The Witcher, that show took a lot of the elements of what the stories talked about, and then they showed where those stories came from. So, like, he's the butcher. What's this? He's known as the butcher of what?
Butcher of Blevin?
Blevin or something like that.
Something like that.
Like, they show that.
Yeah.
And then in the games he fights a demon who's like a princess, and in the show they show him.
Oh, you're talking about the Striga?
Yeah, the Striga.
Like the.
What you said? No. Striga, please. So like, they show that, but at the same time, they're showing it from a different perspective. They changed the quality of the storytelling, because obviously the game is a lot different than the books. And
yeah, I think from what I know of the video games, because I haven't really played too much of it, but from knowing that and from like how the story, like the book goes, I think they did a good job of balancing with the actual the narrative and then the action. Because when the original book, there's like not a lot of action. It's a lot of just people standing in rooms going, "Oh, you had sex with her?"
I mean, look at her. She has a hump. Wouldn't you?
I'm gonna save this girl.
That's exposition, by the way. That's like terrible When stories have to tell you, even in a script, like if in the script it tells you what's happening, like if the characters are physically telling you what has happened, is happening, or will happen, there has to be another way to tell that. And I say that to be accurate because there are movies that do it all the time. And also the other thing is like when there's plot points, I know we're a little off streaming, but this is storytelling aspects which lead into the stories and stuff, like quality of the story.
Yeah.
One of the things I had to learn while becoming a writer and being, guided, and, also studying writing, is you can have a plot point that's so important to the overall narrative of the full episode or season or first half arc or whatever. And it can all come down to a word, or it could come down to an action, just one little action, and that plot point is either presented officially or it's resolved. It doesn't have to be that great. Every plot point doesn't have to be this amazing world-conquering moment, but it also has to make sense. It has to have a drive and emotional truth.
And it has to affect, the story as to why it has to have a purpose as to why they're there.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like with storytelling, this is why I can't watch a movie or a television show and be surprised. Is because anytime they mention something in a story, and I apologize for this because it's going to ruin watching TV for everybody, but anytime they mention something in a story, it's going to come up. And if it doesn't, that's bad writing. But it's also good writing if you can do that without leading to that reveal. So if you can say something in a film, subtly, or do something in a film, and it leads to something and you didn't see that coming, that's really good writing. But if someone's like, yeah, I haven't seen my father in years, he's a scumbag. He's gonna say, and not only is he gonna show up, but he's probably gonna save the day. No, he's gonna save the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the thing is, the character saw him as a scumbag when he was a kid, but now the father was redeemed. Like that's the evolution of the character, because every character has to have an evolution. Does the character have to become good? No. But usually in that situation, the evolution is that they learn something, or why would the father come back? But anyway, when it comes to storytelling, like really every moment and every scene has to influence the narrative. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be exposition, but the way a character reacts, doesn't react, says or doesn't say something, what they say, what they do, what they don't say, all these things should influence the overall narrative. Even as an actor, you should be taking this stuff in and going, what am I really saying here? What is the context? How does this scene influence my next scene and the scene after that? And then you have to look at what is my emotional through line? And how am I getting there?
Well, didn't you, if I remember correctly, excuse me, isn't one of the principles, like when you're filming a scene as an actor, to be like, oh, what's my motivation to, why am I going into this scene, and then what is my motivation to leave?
Now, you're close. You basically want to know where I'm coming from and what's keeping me in the room. Because at every moment, you should be leaving the room, but why are you not leaving the room? And as an actor, you have to figure out why you're not leaving the room. Like, what's keeping you there? And it could be something as important as you have something really important to say that you need to get off your chest. Or it could be something as little as, well, I'm not going to let them have the last word. Or it could be something as, I have anxiety. If I leave this room, they're going to be talking about me, and I don't want to feel that. So I'm not saying those are your choices, but as an actor, you're supposed to make choices. But the rule is, basically, where am I coming from? Because there's an emotional state you're in before you reach that scene. And then while you're in that scene, why am I staying here? What is keeping me here? Those are little things. Like when I used to do writing classes all the time. I used to teach writing classes all the time. And that people come in and they read a scene, it's really great, but it's just 2 characters or 3 or 4 characters, and they're always just talking, and they're like, oh, they're just talking. And they're like, oh, Quentin does it. And I'm like, Quentin Tarantino never makes his characters just talk. And they're like, yeah, he does. And he goes, no, listen to what they're saying. There's so much story and narrative in what they're saying. It influences the entire It's explaining the elements of the story. It's explaining the texture, the mood.
I think you and I definitely had this conversation where I brought up Quentin Tarantino specifically of the quarter pounder or cheese conversation that they're having. And me, like, before we had a conversation, I was like, oh, they're just having a random conversation. But you're like, no, this is character development. You're getting to understand both characters, their dynamic, where Vince was coming from, and then you're also figuring out where Samuel L. Jackson's character was coming from, and like what's going on before they get to the next part of the story. And you're like, oh, this is what where their headspace is at when they go into get the briefcase.
Well, yeah. Plus, right before they go in, they start talking about foot massages, and then he stops. Samuel L. Jackson stops and goes, "Let me ask you something. Foot massages is into but like they're about to kill somebody, and
it's pretty into.
But it's telling you more than they're not villains in this situation. They're doing their job, but that scene is also setting up the Vegas scene later when he takes the girl out and he gets her high because he basically says that the boyfriend ends up killing the guy because of a foot massage. And he's like, I now have to take her out on a date, and then she has an overdose, and he's like, this is worse than a foot massage. What am I going to do? So it does set up a lot. Also, the MacGuffin's in that scene, with the briefcase. So, but anyway, going back to streaming though, like I said, there was an hour of me searching, and I eventually went to Casino Royale. And I think there's also a common theme of like style. Like on Netflix, there's like a bunch of like mystical shows that are on. Like they have the Nun show, movie TV show that was terrible.
Yeah, I think they definitely have their style, but I think they also have styles within styles. So like whatever the subgenre is, like their fantasy stuff all looks the same. Their kid stuff all looks the same. Their dramas like all look the same.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Everything I work on that's personal
has a style.
But like they're also connected in some way or some form. Like they're all in the same world. They're all in the same field. I do a lot of the same.
So basically, themes. all of your artwork or creative aspects are basically just one giant tattoo that is interconnected.
Yeah, correct. They're sleeves into a back and chest, down the legs.
The tattoo is so big that it is now tattooed onto your bed sheets.
Yeah, look at the bed sheets. But you have to if you read, listen to my music, read my books, listen to my music, watch my movies, TV shows, anything I create. If you see it was written and directed by Thomas J. Gillespie,
it's connected to this world.
Even if it's not supposed to be, there's something that is connecting those worlds, even just by theme alone. Like there's also something I try to slip into everything I do, especially if it's an original. If it's an original piece, I definitely slip in the phrase "be nice." Be nice to everyone because you never know who someone is or who someone knows. If it's an original piece, I will put that in there. If it's not, like if
someone hired you, you're not gonna.
Yeah, like hired work, I can't do that. Or like Grave Remorse for the Monologue Chronicles. That wasn't technically my story. That was Mark Schwann's story. He told me the story that was very personal to him, and he's like, I wish I could put that into words, and I wrote that piece. And he's like, I didn't tell you any of this, and you got everything I needed to say. You knew exactly how I was feeling, but that's how a writer works. I did that with The Day I Lived.
My question is, did you like Vulcan mind meld?
No,
in order to.
I held his teacup, and I said cough, and I knew everything.
Oh.
But there was a song called Day I Lived, and the drummer at the time, I was going through a breakup because apparently you're supposed to be intimate with the girl you've been with for 3 years, or they get a little anxious, and they're like, I have to leave, and he's like, I don't understand, I love you though, and she's like, not enough,
Whoa.
Anyways,
go 3 years and not
not
intimate time.
Well, he would let her be intimate, but then he was like,
That's not nice.
Well, he may have been asexual. I told him he could have been asexual. He's like, no, I like sex. And I was like, well, with your girlfriend? And he's like, well, she left me. And I was like, oh. But so he told me these emotions, and I wrote Day I Lived, and he read that. It was like, how do you know what was in my head? So that song is actually about basically moving on from a bad relationship. That wasn't really bad. The girl wasn't bad. He was bad. But what's interesting is that's how I wrote it. I wrote it as in like the guy was terrible in the relationship, was destroyed by the relationship ending, blamed the girl for being the bad, right? I knew what I was writing, and he was like, that's exactly what I'm feeling. And I was like, this is why you're terrible. Like, you're not good in relationship because this shouldn't be how you're feeling. Like this is, I knew what he was feeling, and I just put it into words.
And you're like, oh.
He's like, this is it, and I was like,
You're like, oh, that's not good, buddy. You should
like,
probably go work on it.
no, you got compassion. You're supposed to listen to hear. You're supposed. It doesn't mean you have to compromise everything. Like, don't compromise your soul, your ideals, but like you have to compromise. Like, you got to be good to a person. Like,
you have to treat everyone with respect and kindness.
Yeah.
You know? But don't let people like walk over you, obviously. But, like,
unless you like that.
I mean, listen, whatever.
Some people like to be
tickles
kicked
your
in, the pickles. You know, they're like, kick me in the pickle. What? Kick me in the pickle? No. Harder. Ma, you don't understand. It's the biggest. I'll talk to you later.
Get the nipple clip.
But so I want to move on with streaming. So the streaming debate that's been going out there, I just saw it on the internet the last couple of days. Is so people are angry that The Boys, excellent show, amazing. The Boys is a weekly streaming show, meaning
minus the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, they let the 3 episodes in. But ultimately, it's a long season. But once the first 3 episodes came out, they were, or was it 2? Was it 2?
No, they did the first 3, and I think they're doing 8 episodes.
8, something like that.
8 or 10.
But they ended up releasing one every week, and they do. Disney Plus does that. So when Mandalorian came out, which was like the highest rated streaming show when it came out,
And the second highest rated on Disney
was
Plus
Gargoyles. Yeah. Woo, Gargoyles.
I love that show. It's so good.
But the big thing to discuss is that Disney Mandalorian was so good that people were willing to wait. But in this day and age, Netflix, the monster that it is,
They've changed the consumption game.
yeah, they were just like, here's the season, watch at your discretion. And the average views is 2 to 3 episodes of an hour-long show. That's how much TV or content people are watching, especially with binge watching. I don't know about you, but I watched all 8 episodes of Lucifer when they released the newest season. I couldn't stop watching.
And then you rewatched it when I had to catch up with you.
Well, yeah, somebody had to be there holding your hand. Like,
What?
Don't worry, they don't die. And you're like, no, they don't kill the puppies. And I'm like, there are no puppies. Good. So the puppies don't die. No, they do.
Listen, you gotta stick up for those little puppies.
Yeah.
They need a little extra. Listen, let's put this conversation.
Hey-oh! I'm glad it's the tail end of that conversation.
Listen, it's gonna.
I'm not barking up this tree. All right, so listen. Doggone. Anyway, so the debate is really like, should streaming content just be made in chunks? Should it just be like, boom, here it is? What is your stance on it? I probably already know you don't like the weekly thing, but what do you think is the pros and cons of both?
I think
That was good. That was interesting.
The pros.
The pros are the football players. What football players?
The pros of doing the weekly streaming is that, you know, the people running
Weekly as in like Freya?
Yes. Like Graceland.
Oh,
So he's no longer
don't ruin it.
Graceland.
Anyway, go ahead. What were we saying? Going back.
I think the pros for the weekly streaming is that it keeps the audience obviously wanting to come back, so it's more of like a benefit for the streaming company, and then you know, it basically gives them a little bit more of a reason to have people keep coming back. Whereas if you have things released all at once, you know, audiences can, you know, potentially just be like, oh, let me just try the free trial for a month and then not continue with it. But from the audience perspective, having everything come out all at once lets you literally stream and watch whatever it is you want to watch at your, you know, leisure. So like when you watch Lucifer in one sitting, you know.
Yeah, my whole life was wasted away.
You're like, listen, the entire world is sleeping, so I don't need to sleep.
Yeah, I don't need to sleep. I only slept until the next day. Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying there, and I agree. I think with streaming, if they put it out in chunks, you get a chance to say to yourself, what is it do I want to watch? You know, and then you watch it, you know, and you go, I want to watch an episode. I don't want. But also, it's telling of the show. You know, like I watched all of Lucifer. It means it was good. In fact, everyone did. It was #1 on Netflix when it came out. Like everybody was just watching. Even when they placed all the episodes on it, when it went from Fox to Netflix, it was the #1 Netflix show. Everyone just watched the whole seasons, you know. The thing with boys is, I did two things. First, I hate commercials, right?
Mhm.
But the reason I don't have cable is because I hate commercials and I hate waiting. I just like when people tell me, "Oh, you should watch Dexter." I refuse to watch it. It's an hour-long show. It's once a week, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. There's no way. First of all, it's on. I think it was on like a regular.
HBO, I think.
It was HBO.
I think it was HBO. HBO or Showtime, I forget.
One of those. But you had to wait, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. And then it finally came out on Netflix. I blew through that show, and I was like, this show. I'm glad I got to see it, but I don't think I would have been able to handle.
Episode of the week.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah, no, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, because the way my brain works is I become obsessed with just the resolve of something. So like,
And I think a big thing, especially like with you and I, is the fact that we try to maintain like total control over our time, so we don't have to be dependent on like other like outside sources. So having to wait a specific time, every week, it's like, all right, we really want to enjoy this. This is our fun time.
Yeah.
We want this in our lives, but like, we have to go by their schedule, as opposed to we can do all the work that we need to do, and then at the end of the day, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, we're like, oh, we're finally done with work. Let's relax and like watch whatever we're gonna watch, at our.
And then we watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not even excited that Boys is coming out next Friday again. Like, because it's like, I know I'm going to see it. It'll be an hour of my life, and then I have to wait again. And that to me is not exciting. I'm not up for it. But with that said, Lucifer, because of COVID, their latest season 5,
Got split to Hans's.
because the production
Got the
got delayed. Now, I will say what they did was kind of interesting. They gave us 8 episodes, and then they're going to release the next 8 episodes for the resolve of that season.
But I feel like
And that got me excited.
that works though, because most seasons nowadays are 8 to 10 episodes, because there is so much put into the production of a season, and most people will sit down for like the binge watching, so they'll sit for like the 8 to 10 episodes. With Lucifer sticking to like the old format of doing like 15 to 25 episodes per season.
I think season 3 was like 25 episodes.
Yeah, so like that's your episode of the week kind of thing. They're able to, since they have that format, they're able to do the split in half, and it feels like a full season, because that's what we're used to now. It's like the new norm.
But they also, I believe the television show was 44 minutes long because it was with commercials.
Yeah.
But on Netflix, some of the shows are over an hour. They're not restrained by time. They're not purposely going for an hour, but like if the story needs to go that long, they go for it. But they're still doing like the crime of the week. But
I do feel like there's a complete, I do feel like there is a change with how they're approaching, because like they know they don't have to stick to those parameters. There's still, like you said, like the episode of the week kind of thing, but like there's a lot more focus on the overall story arc.
Yeah. Lucifer is specifically changing it up, definitely in a way where it's really about Chloe and Lucifer. But they consciously did that. But in season 4, they had to do the criminal of the week, because they were just coming from the criminal of the week on Fox. In season 5, they kind of do that a little bit, and then it's sort of,
here's the main story.
Here's the main story. In fact, a lot of the times, the villain is not even like, they'll do like 3 or 4 episodes of a villain growth, and then like they're not even the main villain. They just catch the person who's been doing something else, and
Or like there's one, I'm not gonna, people have potentially seen it, but like there's one villain like the last season that influences one of the main characters for like 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a quote unquote a surprise. It wasn't for me though. I was like, come on.
Like called.
I was like, this better not. Oh,
what
there it
is the last movie or show that like caught you by surprise? You're like, I did not see that guy.
Oh, my birth videotape. I didn't expect to be born.
You're like, whoa. that was not.
What was that? What was well, Edge of Tomorrow wasn't that I didn't catch on to anything, but it was one of those films that really pulled me in. I was like, oh wow, that got me good. But a film that I wasn't expecting something. Jeez, I can't even remember. I can't even think of I know there are small moments where I was like, oh, that was cool. Like it does stick out, but rarely does the ending ever like for example, there's a movie that came out on Netflix that I was looking forward because it's based on like criminal books, and it was funny, stuff like that. I don't want to give away the thing, but ultimately one of his old friends from the force came and visited him to make sure he was okay, and I was like, he's the bad guy, right? But he wasn't. He was being nice. The guy that was with him was being mean, and he was like, "Hey, leave him alone." He just got. And like the father knew who he was, and he's like, "Yeah, I hope all's well." And I was like, "This is totally the bad guy, right?" But like they made it like the bad guy was some white cop, and then that guy died right in the beginning.
It's not.
It's like he's not. Well, clearly he's not a bad guy. Oh, what do we got here?
You got a question?
Do you think? All the time, every day, actually.
Once or twice
I think often. Only on Thursdays. Do you think streaming is going to be the end of cable? Yes. I don't know. So she's asking, do you think streaming is going to be the end of cable or broadcast television? I wouldn't say it's going to be the exact end. I think the formula is going to get placed into the audience's hand. I believe CBS, ABC, all these channels, NBC, they're going to turn to a streaming format.
CBS already started with CBS All Access, so it shows like Card, the new one, Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. There's also another one called what is it?
Twilight Zone is on CBS All Access as well.
Twilight Zone. Peacock. So Peacock, I believe, is ABC. Which one's the Peacock one?
Is that NBC?
NBC. Whatever they have a streaming channel called Peacock. I think what it's doing is it's allowing people. Right now, there's an older generation that are not necessarily getting away from cable, and they're not necessarily embracing streaming totally. So I think one day, streaming is going to still be program television. Like for example, Disney Plus is still doing the weekly episode.
So is CBS All Access. So like they're still doing stuff like that. But I think having the streaming platforms and having all the old channels that have been around since the dawn of broadcast, they're obviously adapting, but I think
you have to.
I think we're gonna start seeing people basically picking and choosing the channels that they want to have instead of getting the whole cable package and having 80 million channels.
Dude, DirecTV. Everyone thought DirecTV was going to be the next big thing, and you get like 999 channels, and there's nothing to watch. But you're right, with streaming, you go, I want Netflix because Netflix has these shows that I like. Disney Plus has these things I like. Peacock has these things. So
and a lot of streaming things too also bundle up with like other companies. So like I have Hulu through Spotify. Like I have Spotify that I pay for, and a year ago.
Spotify, I believe our radio shows, our podcast streams on that.
We are definitely streaming on the Spotify.
I don't make this stuff up, it's right on Spotify.
And we're definitely not making this stuff up, and it's on Spotify.
Yeah, you could follow it, I think. You could follow that playlist and help us with our...
You can even follow, I think it's under BBR.
Yeah, you could just look up I don't make this stuff up and you'll see our... But anyway.
So they had a deal where Hulu had a deal with Spotify. So like, you sign up and say, hey, you get free Hulu, which is what I ended up doing. So I have like the limited version, but I can watch all of like the TV shows pretty much.
Do you remember when Hulu was free?
Yes, there was the free version, which I think had the ads.
Yeah, and I was okay with that, but
And then I got Disney Plus, basically free with my Verizon.
Yeah, but that's gonna go away soon, right?
There's a deal where you can just get that tagged onto your Verizon bill, so they just share whatever they think. So I'm not paying for Disney Plus ever.
Oh, all right, cool.
And we have Disney Plus. High five.
I do want to say something though. To go a little deeper into that cable broadcast thing, I think the evolution of streaming is just control. People want control. So if you can literally not pay $195 a month for your phone, cable, and internet, and you just pay $65 or $75 a month, and you still get but then you're like, yeah, but I'm paying $15 for Netflix, I'm paying But they do bundles. I do know Disney Plus, Hulu, some sports thing, and something else does a bundle pack because they're all owned by the same company.
There's also like some sports stuff gets streamed through, I think CBS All Access has like a sports streaming thing. Hulu has a sports streaming thing through them as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So then you're still getting that stuff. I mean, if you want to like follow like specific sports teams, I think also have like their own streaming.
Yeah, but how much is stream? Like, let's see. I pay $12.99. I pay $13. I pay $6. So what is that? That's $20. So I pay $20 a month for Netflix and Hulu, right? That's it.
You pay $20 a month to sit down for an hour and not be able to pick anything because there's nothing up.
Yeah, it's like, what am I paying for? But I have the money, so it's not a big deal. The internet I use for everything, so it's not like I just have the internet to watch those things. Like I need the internet for my
Work.
You know, this is what I do for a living.
Staying in touch with existence, especially during COVID times.
Yeah, you know. The other thing I wanted to talk about with streaming is, did you know, and they're working to kind of break these deals, but streaming actually pays their performers and shows and creators less money than standard television and or broadcast and also film. So there was this article came out about, have you ever seen the Daredevil TV show?
I have not.
You have to have seen Daredevil.
I've never seen the Daredevil TV show.
You've never watched Marvel's Daredevil?
Never.
Don't you have to leave?
I live here.
What is good? You've never seen Daredevil.
No.
Did you watch Jessica Jones?
Nope.
Did you watch The Punisher?
I just watched season 1.
Jesus, did you ever watch anything from it? All right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. I have nothing to say to you. Anyway, you should watch Daredevil. It's good. Great 3 seasons. Anyway, so one of the main actors, Peter Shinkoda, I absolutely said that name wrong. Shinkoda. I think it's Shinkoda. Anyway, I apologize. Peter. What's your name? Joke. So Peter Shinkoda, who starred in Netflix Daredevil as crime boss Nabu Yoshiko.
Well, Nabu, that's in Star Wars.
I can't even say his last name. I apologize. I said his last name wrong. Anyway, so Peter from Daredevil Netflix series played crime boss Nabu, who broke down on Twitter recently exactly how absurdly low his pay was for the Marvel series. Now, he was he was the lead actor in the show, and he was saying basically they offered him $3,500 per episode as a local hire, okay? And then he takes $1,600 and change after commission and taxes. So they give him $3,500 for an episode, and then he ends up only making $1,600. And then if you do that, he worked 8 days. So basically, he made $200 a day. Oh, look at this. The price differences between cable and streaming services is astronomical. That is correct, which has brought the price of internet really high. And like you said, performers get paid way less on streaming platforms now, which was a big point of negotiations with SAG and the newest union. That's right. I believe the new SAG contract has increased the amount, but it's nowhere near what you get if you're working a movie or a broadcast show. But this guy was a main actor doing some crazy fights. Not that he did all his own stunts, but he did some of them.
Basically, he made like $200.
He's saying he made $200 a day, which, by the way, as a background actor, if you were on this show, you would have probably made $130, $120 on it.
So he's not making much more than the background guys.
Yeah, but again, normally a background actor can make $180 maybe for the 8 hours on a regular show or a movie. So the price difference is pretty crazy. I mean, let's be real though. I mean, $200 a day, for 8 to 10 hours is $20 an hour, and he's getting to act. So I mean, let's put it. I'm union strong. I stand by the union. I believe.
You also sit by the union.
I sit by the union. I've ran with the union. I've run two elections in a row with USAN. That's Rebecca Damian, who's now the New York vice president, New York president. I've ran with Mike Hodge, who unfortunately passed away just recently. It was his anniversary of his death. And so right off the bat, I'm union strong. I believe if the studios are going to pay you that kind of money, take it. I have nothing against it. However, I do believe that creators who make more money than your traditional hard-working person, and don't get, I am an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a comedian, I'm a musician,
You're a performer and an artist.
I'm a performer and artist. I know some of those days are hard. I know standing around is hard. I know, going through emotional turmoil to get to certain places, to get those scenes done. But you're not doing construction. You're not doing surgery where the life of other people are on the line. You're not dealing with
You're not doing brain surgery.
millions of dollars in a stock room, dealing with brokers. When I get paid to write, never in my mind am I like, I need to get paid more for this. And I help people get their projects done for a very affordable price. Like I will absolutely help someone who's like, I have a story, I'm not really in the business. I'm like, I'll do it for this much.
Yeah, because you're like, this is what my time's worth, but like you also want to make sure that people are able to actually find their yes, because everyone deserves